following is a presentation of Main Street Media, your source for news, sports, and information on Main Street in Middle Tennessee. Welcome into a Thursday edition of Main Street Sports. Today on the program, in the Coach's Corner, Centennial's Jeff Serbin, softball coach, will be joining us, so stay tuned for that. Also, Landen Secrest will be talking a little NBA action. Our daily Braves chatter, and I don't know if you heard anything about today, but a little college football coaching duel, perhaps. Nick Saban, Jimbo Fisher, back and forth in press conferences and meetings with boosters. Oh, it is spicy. We look forward to talking about it. We're going to do that coming up. But first, we send you to the Hall of Famer Mo Patton and the Sundrop Kid from Alabama, Chris Yao. Happy Thursday, gentlemen.
Yes, it is a happy Thursday because we are inside in the air conditioning after spending the last 2 hours outside, not in the air conditioning, Mo. But well worth it as we send a Southern Middle Tennessee area softball team to the state tournament.
Yeah. Entertaining ball game, weather notwithstanding.
The weather was rough. Boy, I'm telling you. But it's only a preview, Mo, of what we are in store for next week. And Spring Fling does loom starting next Tuesday through Friday. We'll be here on Monday previewing all of the things that you can expect to see at Spring Fling, the TSSAA Spring State Tournaments, including tennis, boys soccer, track and field, baseball, and softball. So plenty to talk about on Monday. And then starting Tuesday at 2 o'clock from 2 to 4, Tuesday through Friday, you'll be able to catch George Plaster and the Main Street Media team, as we will be covering games throughout Murfreesboro and keeping you updated throughout the afternoon on Main Street team. So thank you guys for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. Top story is the puck drop today, Mo. John Hines extension confirmed. David Poyle, brutally honest, said, I didn't give him a team that could win, which I thought was, again, brutally honest. But he did say he was satisfied with the progress this team is competing, and the next step is to win, which natural progression, right? Yeah, take a team that is competing and try to win with it. So how do you feel about John Hines being extended?
I'd feel better about John Hines being extended if some other general manager had extended him. I don't know, and we've talked about it. We talked about it last week with Christopher Martell, and to a lesser degree with Pete Weber, and then earlier this week to probably a greater degree with Teresa Walker. I'm just not sure that David Poyle deserves to still be the guy at the top of the Predators.
Well, let's look at it this way. If David Poyle is at least aware enough that he's got to make some changes, do you feel like he's a guy who can get it done and knows the game well enough to find the pieces that are necessary if given the opportunity to go get those pieces?
Based on
based on his history.
No.
Well, then I have to agree with you that David Poyle probably has outlived his welcome.
I mean, he has been a great general manager for this franchise, getting it off the ground as an expansion team and advancing it and progressing it to the 2017 season and the 2018 season when they made the Stanley Cup Finals and won the President's Trophy.
Since that time?
Not so much.
Not so much.
So,
man, COVID really did a number on this franchise, didn't it?
I mean, I just the last 4 or 5 years, and again, we've talked about it. You create the expectations, and then you have to deal with those expectations. I think people in Nashville and Predators fans, wherever they are, expect more out of this franchise at this point than playing to get into the playoffs and to get mauled as a number 7 and number 8 seed once they get there.
I absolutely agree. Well, there you go. John Hines has been extended. David Poyle seems to still be the general manager for now. Says the number one goal is to sign Philip Forsberg. So we'll see how that goes. JP, thanks for welcoming us in. I'm going to send it to you now, and let's get some scores and schedules as we get the rundown.
This is the rundown. All right, so our rundown for today, as a switch over here, there we go. High school baseball and softball action from yesterday. Public schools still in play for Friday. Eagleville 9-3 over Moore County last night. East Robertson 8-3 over Gordonsville. Greenbrier 7-1 over Montgomery Central. It was Hendersonville 6-4 over Mount Juliet. Henry County fell to Rossview 10-4. Loretto 7-3 winners over White House Heritage. Centennial 14-6 over Ravenwood. It was Riverdale with a 3-1 win over Stewart's Creek. Watertown defeated York Institute 5-2. D2 quarterfinals. Winners here advance to the spring fling, correct?
Best of 3.
Best of 3. All right, so Good Pasture 7-1 over Evangelical Christian. Franklin Grace 19-2 and 10-2 over FACS. And McCauley 7-4 over CPA. Softball yesterday, it was Bledsoe County shutting out Westmoreland 1-0. Summit 7-2 over Centennial. Montgomery Central 2-1 over Creekwood. Joe Burns 4-2 over Gordonsville. Eagleville 4-1 winners over Huntland. Stewart's Creek 7-5 over Smyrna. Clarksville falls to Springfield 4-2. Summertown defeated Loretto yesterday. You can find out more at mainstreetmurray.com as that's where Chris was. But where were you last night?
I was at Columbia Academy.
Columbia Academy. All right.
Silverdale.
Okay, there you go. So find out more details on those games at mainstreetmurray.com.
We also had coverage of Summit Centennial Softball.
There you go. All right. All around coverage. That's what we do. Wilson Central 7-2 winners last night. D2 quarterfinals. DCA with a pair of wins over Grace Christian Knoxville 13-4 and 9-3. It was Lakeway Christian with a pair of wins over Davidson Academy 8-6, 14-4. Columbia Academy and Silverdale Academy split 2 games. The first two, 6-2 CA, 6-3 Silverdale Academy. And then today, it was Columbia Academy 6-3 in the decisive game.
It's almost identical scores.
Yeah,
Almost.
it's like the Silverdale coach pointed out. They're kind of like tennis, 6-2, 6-3, 6-3.
That's right. Just glad we didn't have a love there. And in the majors last night, it took 11 innings, and the Brewers down the Braves 8-7. The Sounds get a win over Louisville last night, 7-4. MLS Nashville Soccer Club SC 2-1 over Montreal. And it was, let's look at today's schedule. D2 quarterfinals, Evangelical Christian. This is baseball, best of 3. Good Pasture, that was a 1 o'clock first start. They played all 3 today or just a doubleheader?
They played yesterday. They played 1. They'll play 2 today.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. CPA McCauley will play at 4. Lipscomb Academy MBA will throw out their first pitch at 4:30. Boys soccer on the pitch today at 6 tonight. Valor Collegiate at White House Heritage. Richland hosting Harpeth. That's at 6 o'clock. It is Oakland at 7. We'll welcome Laverne. Page will be at Murfreesboro Central Magnet at 7:30. Also playing today are Brentwood at Franklin, Hendersonville hosting Station Camp, Rossview at Henry County, and Merrill Heights at STEM Academy. The Sounds continue their series against Louisville, 6:35. First pitch tonight, and that is your Thursday rundown.
All right, yeah, when we come back, we are going to talk TWSAA softball with Centennial softball coach Jeff Serbin, whose team will now have to travel to Wilson Central for a shot at the state tournament. But we'll get more on that when we come back. Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We'll return after these messages. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, zioneagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's zioneagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck, yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee, because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao alongside Mo Patton. JP Plant is on the controls. We are glad to be back in studio with you. As it appears the internet is holding on for dear life today. Knock on wood. Yeah, all the wood. As we told you, we just returned from Game 3 of that 3-game set between Columbia Academy and Silverdale Academy. Columbia Academy advanced to the state tournament, which is a 4-team double elimination tournament starting on Tuesday that will culminate with the state championship on Thursday. Last night, a couple of Williamson County softball teams took to the diamond, and unfortunately for our guest, the Summit Lady Spartans, or Spartan Women as I like to call them, came out on top of the Centennial Cougars, but that is not the end of the line for Coach Jeff Serbin and his CCCHS Lady Cougars, as they will get a chance to go to Wilson Central and earn a berth in the state tournament tomorrow. Coach, welcome into the show. Thank you for taking some time with us.
Well, thank you for having me, and appreciate all you guys do.
Thank you, Jeff. Congrats. I mean, I'm not sure when Centennial has made it as deep a run in the playoffs or in the postseason as they have this year, but winning that opening round of the region and getting a region championship game over on Mallory Lane is a pretty big accomplishment for you guys. So the loss notwithstanding, what's just kind of walk us through this season and this progression for the Lady Cougars.
Well, it's been a long run. It's been 18 years since Centennial's been in this position, and when I first got here, we were 0-22, and progressively we've gotten better every year, more wins every year. Of course, you have to have players, so we got a few of those, and we just kept on grinding and changing the mentality of losing to let's just get after it and see what happens. And this group of girls are fantastic, and I've always said they love to get dirty, and it's so it's been a while, so but it's been a lot of fun. This is a great group to be around. They love each other and care about each other, and so we're just going to go to Wilson Central and see what happens and give it our best shot.
Went over to Franklin, lost to Franklin in the District 11 4A finals, went over to Nolensville in the Region 6 4A semifinals, and pulled what a lot of people would consider a shocker, no disrespect, but going and beating Ryland Smith and the Lady Knights 4-1 over in Nolo to earn home field for this matchup yesterday against Summit. That again, as Chris said, Summit won that game 7-2. But you talk about grinding, Jeff, and just go out there and see what happens. And to go over there against a really good Nolensville team and get the win, that's got to kind of epitomize the grind for you guys, I would think.
Oh, most definitely. What a great pitcher. What a great program. Coach Patton's done a great job over there. And, just to go over there and go on the road and, nobody gave us a chance but our inner circle. And that's why I said I can't, the girls just start believing in themselves. And we actually played better on the road here recently. And so, I'm kind of looking forward to going to Wilson Central, backs to the wall, and a program that historically is very good over there. Coach Cardiff and my wife played college softball together, and my wife was the original head coach at Wilson Central when it opened up, and now my nieces play there. So a lot of history to this game coming up tomorrow night. And, like I said, I'm sure nobody's given us a chance to go over there, but, don't underestimate us going on the road right there.
Clearly, you won't have to worry too much about a scouting report, I don't guess.
No, not at all. We've already played them once this year and played in a little tournament over there. And but like you said, I've been around that program for a lot of years, and, it's a great program. And, just to get a chance to go over there in this environment and, potentially go to the state tournament, it's just been truly a blessing for, around here, because like you said, Centennial softball hasn't been relevant in a long time. And now we get a chance, and, we're going to make every opportunity and go over there and just go to battle.
Regardless of what happens tomorrow, you're one of the last 16 teams in Class 4A standing. That's you gotta, that's got to be a heck of an accomplishment for this program. But Wilson Central, they've got the real good pitcher that's signed with Louisiana Lafayette, and I can't think of her name. But like you said, certainly a challenge awaiting you guys as you head over there.
Yep, Kylie Fitzer is a very good pitcher. The pitchers we have faced over the last 3, 4, 5 games, Abby O'Hagan coming back did an excellent job on us. And then, last night, and then Ryland, so I think seeing this type of pitching for us is giving us a good scouting report on what we need to do at the plate. We got to make adjustments. We had an opportunity a couple times last night to get a big hit, but she's a good pitcher, and it's a great Summit team, and wish them the luck tonight or tomorrow night. But I think we're ready. I think we've seen some pitchers that over the last, like I said, 3 or 4 games that have gotten us ready for this moment.
And you've got a couple of solid hitters. Coach Jeff Serbin of Centennial softball with us here on Main Street Sports today. Coach, talk a little bit about Kylie Burgett and Alex Brashears. That they were important for you last night, but they've been important for you all year long.
Yeah, Kylie is one of our seniors, and she come in as a freshman, started right away, and just, she's always going to have good at bats, and she's struggled a couple times here in the last couple of games, but she makes some adjustments sometimes, and then but she's just a great hitter for us. She's always going to make contact and hit the ball hard. And Alex is only a sophomore, so she's done great behind the plate, and she's got raw power, and she just got to learn to pick the pitches that she knows she can handle. But when she does, she squares it up and she hits it hard. And then Lauren Johnson, little Alabama commit, she's only a junior, plays center field. She and Kylie lead us in about every offensive category. And when she gets on base, that's key for us. She gets on and she makes things happen, and Kylie hits right behind her. So I haven't did the stats, but every time Lauren gets on base, we tend to score pretty early.
Yeah, and in the circle for you, if you can score a little bit, you're in good hands, because you've got a young freshman, Sydney Lord, who has been pretty well dominant for you at times this year.
Yeah, she doesn't throw very hard, but she can locate her pitches, and her off speed is really off speed, and it messes with a lot of hitters. And we haven't decided what we're going to do tomorrow yet. Talk to our assistant coaches and see what the plan is, because she pitched against them last time. And so, but she's done a great job, and a freshman coming in, and, just in that big moment, you couldn't tell that she was nervous or anything like that.
Centennial softball coach Jeff Serbin joining us here on Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe over in Chapel Hill, here on Main Street Sports Today. And Jeff, you mentioned wish Summit the best of luck. They host Beach in the other sectional involving Region 6-4A. Summit going for their second consecutive state tournament berth. But how do you see that one going, just for a second? Have you seen Beach at all this time around?
Actually, they played here during Brentwood's tournament when something happened with the park system. And so Christy Utley, I've been around her. I was the head coach at Hendersonville for 12, 13 years. And so I know Beach pretty well. And Christy came back out of the athletic director's role and jumped back into coaching. And so she's going to have the girls ready. I think they're fairly young still, but I think Summit has 1 through 9 are pretty good hitters. Of course, you have one of the top pitchers in the state, and you're at home. So I'm, plus being a Williamson County person, I think the girls over there at Summit should win this one and go back to state. What a thrill that would be, back-to-back years for them.
That's great. Got a chance to see 2 Williamson County softball programs punch through into the Class 4A state softball tournament next week over in Murfreesboro. Jeff Serbin, the coach at Centennial, taking his Lady Cougars over to Wilson Central in a state sectional tomorrow evening. Want to wish you and the Lady Cougars luck. And thanks again, Jeff, for joining us here on Coach's Corner, presented by From the Heart Cafe over in Chapel Hill.
Well, thank you very much, and shout out to our boys program getting a chance to play Mount Judd tomorrow night to go to the state. I don't ever remember, or no one seems to know, when baseball and softball were at the same time getting this opportunity together.
That's a lot of excitement over there just south of Cool Springs. Looking forward to seeing how things pan out for you guys tomorrow night. So thanks again for joining us, and again, best of luck.
Thank you all very much for having me.
All righty.
From the Heart Cafe over in Chapel Hill, go see Renee Hart and the fine folks over there. You can find them on Facebook or on Instagram. Again, it's From the Heart Cafe. Let's hand out some hardware before we get out of here. What do you say? That'll work. All right. The End-to-End Life Team of the Week, presented by our friends at Custom Stone Handlers. That's Custom Stone Handlers, Ned Rich. Fine folks here in Columbia. If you're looking for your rock connection, he's got them. The end-to-end live team of the week this week is the Zion Christian softball Lady Eagles, who ended their season last week with a TSIAA championship. Congratulations to Ashlea Coble and Coach Russ Adcox. I know Ashley, I believe, was the most outstanding player in that tournament. So congratulations to her and the Lady Eagles for their TSIAA championship.
And our Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint player of the week from Columbia Central, sophomore outfielder Savia Morgan hit 800, not 300. 800.
That's right.
Considerably more than 300.
Well, you got to just close the other side of the three. Yeah.
Went 12 for 15 in 4 District 12 4A tournament games last week, stealing 8 bases, scored 8 times, doubled twice, and leading the Lady Lions to within a half inning of a region tournament berth. So congratulations to Savia Morgan, the MTBJ player of the week this week.
But she wasn't player of the year. Okay. Anyway.
She was defensive player of the year.
Not enough. Not enough.
No, it's really not. But I think
So
I think that slight may have had something to do with that 800 in the district tournament.
It certainly might have.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna take a quick break, and when we come back, the world of college football has it's blowing up.
It's
so
getting ugly, as Bubba Sparks would say.
So we'll talk about Nick Saban and what he had to say about Jimbo Fisher, about Coach Prime.
Talk about what Jimbo Fisher had to say about Nick
Talk about what
Saban.
Jimbo Fisher had to say. It's going to be a lot. So y'all come back. Main Street Sports today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joints, back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats for orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, anybody else from T-ball to college for 50 plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, deliver winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, at ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731. Schedule you today.
A game without a crowd is scrimmage.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net.
And you've read about them. You know who they are. I mean, we were second in recruiting last year. A&M was first. A&M bought every player on their team, made a deal for name, image, and likeness. All right, we didn't buy one player. All right, but I don't know if we're going to be able to sustain that in the future because more and more people are doing it.
How about coaches is supposed to be doing the right thing? And I'll tell you what, I know how some of those guys recruit too. Go dig into that.
I would like to first say, I shouldn't have to go dig into it, Jimbo. You just said you knew. Why do I need to dig? The bridge has been burned. You said I didn't pick up the phone call because we're through. Tell us. What do we need to know about how Nick Saban does business, Jimbo Fisher? Tell us. Why you scared? Say you scared.
I think he's trying to honor the honor among thieves code that
I think
that
code
he's
got
accusing Saban of having violated egregiously. So it's everybody gonna do time. It's like are we getting ready to see some dirty laundry, or is this just gonna be another dust up?
It's just another dust up right now. But let me rewind that Nick Saban quote, because
we got a turntable scratch over there.
What we don't hear is the rest of the answer, which needs. The problem with social media is that Jimbo Fisher called a press conference and completely lost his mind over what he saw on social media. The full 6-minute answer to the question was Nick Saban saying, look, some teams used NIL differently than other teams, and I'm not sure that the way some teams used it is sustainable.
Right. And had Nick stayed right there, I think things would have been okay. But then Nick went to naming names.
And then he said, well, they bought every team,
every player they got,
every player in their recruiting class. We know for almost certainty that at least one player in a last-ditch effort was offered a pretty good chunk of change, 6 figures, to attend a certain SEC school and wound up signing somewhere else. So we know that this is happening. We know that schools are using NIL as recruiting tools. If you don't think Alabama has been and is using the NIL as a recruiting tool, you're nuts.
And I think that's the issue. It's got to be the issue. I mean, I think Saban wants to fall back on plausible deniability. What did you know and when did you know it? There's probably a lot going on that Saban doesn't know anything about.
Absolutely. But when the parking lot of your workout facility is full of Dodge Chargers and Challengers, I think you might start asking questions. Why are all these guys wearing the same suit? That's interesting. Look,
I just don't know. Here's my thing. You're doing it. They're doing it. Why do you have a problem with them doing it?
I don't know that he has a problem with it. Well, because again, this is not a Nick Saban complaint. This is another Nick Saban warning. This is the same thing he said before the portal. It's the same thing he's saying now. This is not a complaint. This is a warning. Take heed now, or Alabama's going to do the same thing that they've been doing. They're going to take your rules and they're going to beat you with them. Because you can think all you want that Texas A&M's got all the money in the world, and they got a lot of it. So does Texas. But Alabama's got enough money, and they got the best coach in the world. And with those two things together, as long as he's the coach, and we'll talk about that later.
But here's the thing, though.
The money matters.
It's the money matters, but it's not like you said, when you look outside their practice facility and you see all the Chargers and the Challengers, it's not like Alabama's been doing everything by the book to start with.
Sure.
So whatever the rules are, they've been working outside of them. So what warning is it exactly that he's issuing?
That we can do it above board now. And
okay.
And it's not going to be just Challengers and Chargers. It's going to be cash money. And If you thought
so what's
you
he
thought
saying?
that-
If Texas A&M stops, he'll stop.
I don't think that's what he's saying at all. I think what he's saying is that there needs to be some rules in place that they can work outside of and be quiet again. That's what he's saying.
Yeah, right.
But listen,
Which leads you to the Jimbo Fisher narcissistic.
he called him a narcissist straight to his face, basically. I mean, had they been face to face, he would have just called him a narcissist.
Well, he's not answering his phone calls too. He mentioned that somebody asked him.
Well, see, and that's a problem.
If Saban-
He said he did say
Why?
he was
Why
like-
is that a problem?
He said, I'm not afraid of confrontation. Well, if you're not afraid of confrontation, answer the phone.
I just don't have anything to say to him.
He said, "We're done."
We're done.
He said, "I didn't answer. I'm not going to. We're done."
I got nothing to say to him. That's not being afraid of confrontation. I'm sure that go back and find the SEC Media Day schedules.
Oh Lord. Yeah, you were right about that, by the way.
Because there's no way they are in Hoover on the same, or in Atlanta, excuse me, on the same day. We couldn't get that lucky.
No, they are 2 days apart. Matter of fact.
Oh, that's
there's a buffer.
That's enough time.
The good question: who's first?
Nick is first.
Nick gets to lay the groundwork.
And Jimbo gets
to react.
Jimbo
which is what we had today. That's
Jimbo
perfect.
is the last coach on the podium of SEC Media Days.
Talk about must-see TV that week.
But can we at least say that? Can we just say this? Nick Saban called out Coach Prime too.
He did.
We're losing. A lot of folks are losing the fact that
and Prime ain't happy. There may not be any more Affleck commercials.
I want to know who gets the family duck.
Yeah.
Who gets primary custody? Because, and not just Prime, but the player. You still, he ain't showed up yet. He signed, and he did get a contract from Barstool, right?
Did he? I mean,
wasn't that the whole deal? Was Barstool was going to pay him to if he went to JSU or whatever?
Yeah, I think that was part of it. Yeah, they touted that after the fact.
So
they didn't hide it.
Look, the fact is this: Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher have long been working outside of the rules.
Oh, sure.
And now that it's legal, Jimbo didn't have to worry about the rules. He just let his people do what they needed to do to get a number one class, and they did. Now the NCAA has put into at least some sort of language the booster issue. But
I don't know how you put that genie back in the bottle.
Well, I mean, I think they have to work for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
and if they don't, I think that's when you get into a serious situation. Because I mean, all these kids getting all these millions of dollars. I've seen like 5 commercials. I've seen DJ Uiagalelei.
Well,
and that's about it on Dr. Pepper.
Here's the question: you have to work for. You have to work to stay eligible, supposedly, right? Go to class.
Yeah.
Get grades. How's that working out with a lot of these guys? They're getting around that too, right?
They are.
So, I mean, to think that it's, I mean, there's always going to be these colleges trying to gain the advantage.
I mean, can you pay them NIL for one signed football?
I mean, I guess you can pay them
whatever
you want to pay them for.
Yeah.
And I think that's the problem. I don't know that there's any kind of cap. So
or
an NIL cap, like a salary cap,
yeah.
or some sort of, there probably should be a, you can't make more than $1,000 per hour of.
That would be the only way that you could somewhat level the playing field.
Yeah.
That would be the only way.
If you did $1,000 per hour or per piece of memorabilia, right? Mm-hmm. Something like that, or $500 or whatever the number is. I don't know.
It's entertaining, though.
It's entertaining. It's entertaining, and it's not going anywhere.
Nope.
And it's like like the text I sent you guys. I mean, anytime you've got something this explosive going on in the Southeastern Conference, and Lane Kiffin is just sitting back, just kicked back with his feet up.
He's taking notes.
Like,
Yeah, he is. That's exactly what he's doing.
Kiff's like, my name's Bennett, and I ain't in it. That's
Oh, and Lane Kiffin is day one. So you know they're going to ask Lane, what you think Nick and Jimbo going to do? And Lane will tell him exactly what he thinks.
they're gonna fight.
And I'm going to be here to watch it.
Get my popcorn ready. Here we go.
Oh, man. Let's take
Get out your popcorn.
Let's take a quick break for halftime because I do have something I want to mention to you guys while we're here. It's real brief, but halftime. So stick around. Main Street Sports Day presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint back after this.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee. Because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
All right. First of all, I need to know how to say this town name.
Oh my goodness.
Is it Branningsville?
Branningsville.
Branningsville? Of Pennsylvania? Branningsville?
I'm not familiar with that.
All right. Well, the reason I'm asking is because this water bottle right here.
Okay.
If you look on the back of the water bottle, we are all drinking from it. It says source.
Same one, but yeah.
Well, yeah. It says source, Deep Protected Wells, Lee, Florida. All right.
Leaf, Florida?
Lee,
Florida.
Lee.
Florida. Yep.
I bought a bottle of this on Tuesday in between trivia games, and it said source, Deep Protected Wells, Branningsville, Pennsylvania, and or Public Water Supply, Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
I've still got the bottle. I'm bringing it. I will show you guys. This is not a lie. But literally, it said the quiet part out loud. We're turning on the tap and we're giving you Brita water.
Ain't nothing special about this water.
That's why it's the cheapest water at the gas station, I guess. But it blew me away. I was like, are you serious? It actually says Public Water Supply.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they got a top-notch public water supply in Allentown.
Well, if you would like to learn more about their quality, you can go to purelifewater.com/quality and find out. So I just thought that was interesting. So, pay attention to the water you buy because the source is on there and it may in fact say Public Water Supply, Allentown, PA.
As long as it doesn't say Flint, Michigan, I think we'll hopefully we'll do it.
I knew
Nice.
that one was just a matter of time.
All right, let's come back and talk Braves after this on Main Street Sports Today. Stick around. This is Chris Yao with Main Street Sports Today. Every show, Mo Patton and I welcome friends from all across the sports landscape, from high school coaches and reporters to national, college, and pro sports personalities. You never know who might stop by for a chat. AP Tennessee Sports Editor, three-time Tennessee Sports Writer of the Year 2020 TSWA Hall of Famer. She covers the Titans, the Predators, the Grizzlies, college football, and hoops. Please make welcome Teresa Walker.
Former University of Tennessee, former Team USA Olympian, ex-Cy Young Award winner, R.A. Dickey. R.A., did I miss anything?
Man, that was sweet. Yeah, I need to listen to that before I go to bed every night. That was nice.
Has 5 sports Emmys. That's not bad for the other guy in Wham, Ryan McGee.
The other guy in Wham married the best-looking girl, Bananarama, so the other guy in Wham had a pretty good life.
From preps to pros, we're taking on the sports topics you care about. Tune in across Main Street Media social platforms at 2 p.m. or on demand on your podcast distribution platform of choice.
It's the second half of Main Street Sports Today. Coming up, we'll be joined by Landen Secrest, talking a little NBA playoff action. Also, in our final segment of this Thursday, a little college discussion. NCAA, there's always something to talk about. And, as always, our Braves segments and this day in Braves history. Blast from the past coming up, so stay tuned for that. That's coming up next. Back over now to the Hall of Famer Mo Patton and the Sundrop Kid from Alabama, Mauricio.
Mo, you probably don't know this, but last week's run of shows said Braves walk it off on Thursday, and so I just changed it to get walked off.
Bye.
By Nashville Sounds legend Keston Hira, who we talked about with Jeff Him last Friday, because he hit some homers down in Jacksonville and then went up to Milwaukee and
hit some more, or at least one.
At least one more. And the Braves get beat. First time that a team has led in the 9th, 10th, and 11th innings and gotten beat since the 2020 Los Angeles Dodgers. Their season ended okay.
It did.
So I'm taking the positive out of this.
Gotta look for them.
You gotta dig for them.
Goodness gracious, because what they have? They had 2 blown saves.
Technically, yes. Kenley Jansen and Jesse Chavez both blew saves.
Yeah.
Which Kenley Jansen did it without a runner starting on second base. I guess Darren O'Day did too. So technically 3.
Well, yeah, because he blew a save and got the loss.
So there you go.
Yeah, they had 3 blown saves. Nice work.
That's a tough night.
It's nice work.
Tough afternoon, I mean. Yeah. It happened yesterday afternoon. But, yeah, and again, Braves lose the series in a series they absolutely had an opportunity to win. Kenley Jansen, first time he's blown a save in 28 attempts, and that's tough. I mean, but again, that's going to happen. You're going to have blown saves. Even Kenley Jansen, who is phenomenal, is going to have a blown save here and there. You just feel like, man, it would have been nice to get that one particularly because you roughed up Corbin Burns, who,
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, when you go in and you handle the reigning Cy Young winner on the road,
feel good about yourself,
and you don't get the dub at the end. That's a tough one, and no shade at Kenley Jansen.
No.
Like you said, I mean, it's going to happen. Everybody's going to spit the bit from time to time. I mean, those guys drive Mercedes too, right?
Exactly.
So.
And he'd done it 28 times in a row. He was due.
Yeah.
and
he may not do it for another 28. I mean,
which I will take.
Mm-hmm.
And, again, Atlanta with a pretty solid setup over the next month and a half, and get the news that Max Scherzer is out until July for the Mets with an oblique strain. Suddenly, you think this is the Braves' opportunity. You have to take advantage. We've said it so many times already, but it's imperative the Braves take advantage of this particular part of the schedule.
Oh yeah, I mean you can't run the risk of the Mets not metting.
Right.
You gotta start reeling those guys in here during this stretch of the schedule that you talked about a couple of days ago, where it's not the most competitive portion of the schedule that the Braves are going to see over 162. So it would behoove them to start stacking more than 2 wins at a time on top of each other.
Yeah. It couldn't even get to 2 this time around.
Well,
but
not this time, but yeah.
One of the problems that I have with this particular team, and it's not just this team, it's this franchise over the last few years even, is, they tend to play their worst baseball against the worst teams.
Well, Milwaukee's not bad. I don't think they played bad baseball.
That's what I'm saying. No, they were really good in Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
They had a chance to win all 3 games. That's
what's coming up.
San Diego had a chance to win all 3 games. Now, they didn't play poorly in either of those series. They just got beat by a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried about the Texas teams, the Cubs. Yeah, you beat them, but you only beat them 2 out of 3. and
The Cincinnati.
the Cincinnati's that you split an opening week series with. You've got to you got to sweep some of these series. You've got to win 3 in a row, 4 in a row.
Well, and
15 out of 16,
somebody may need to pass that along to the manager, because, like, again, there are moves that get made that it's like, we'll give them tomorrow if we don't get them tonight.
And that's a problem, right?
It is.
You won a World Series.
Yeah.
There's that.
There is that. And that's kind of the big joker if you play spades, you know. I mean, that's kind of checkmate.
And this Braves team overall has had its issues, but they've also had some of the guys that they need to come around start coming around in these last 2 series. Austin Riley particularly has gotten out of his slump and is hitting the ball a mile. Marcell Ozuna has 4 home runs in the last 9 days. That's a big deal. Dansby has hit the ball well. He hit the ball really well against San Diego.
Did I see at one point that he was the team leader in RBI?
He might have been. Of course, he hits 9th, so there's a lot of chances to get on base ahead of him. But that's neither here nor there. And Ozzy Albies is starting to come around. If you can at some point get all of those guys, or at least 75% of them at the same time, you feel really good. And against pitching, maybe we just need Joe to say, "Oh, we're gonna score some runs tonight on this guy." Just need him to say that a few times, because that's what you have to do. You have to take advantage of pitchers who are not at the level that you are as a major league hitter, period. And over the next month, the Braves have to do it. They've got a series coming up with Miami at home. You feel like that is a series you need to do some damage in, although you'll probably see Sandy Alcantara without, I guess you'll either see him against Charlie Morton or potentially Ian Anderson has been our third guy.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, it's kind of wishy-washy. Could be Bryce Elder.
See what happens.
It could be Kyle Wright. Could be anybody. Probably Kyle Wright.
Probably.
But those 3 games right there, you got to win those. I mean, that's a division opponent, a team that we said we're almost the most scared of.
Yeah, because again, there's no reason to have any faith in the Mets based on what they've done in the past.
Sure, but
and the Phillies are beat up, and they're not great.
Blowing saves just like the Braves.
Yep.
The Braves are tied for 3rd, but they're a half game. They're in 4th place in the National League East. 4th place. Tied. They're a half game behind Miami, a game and a half behind Philadelphia, and 7.5 out of 1st.
On May 19th.
I don't feel great about that.
Well, I don't feel great about it, but I mean, one, it could be worse. 2, I still feel like there's time, but I don't know how much time there is.
I was asked this question the other day. What should the Braves' record be? They're currently 17-21. What should their record be?
I think it should be at least 21-17.
I don't think there's any question there. I think they should have won 24. Because at least one more in Texas. You shouldn't have lost it all to Cincinnati. That's 3. And then
I don't know that you can predict a sweep against any major league team just for the fact that
they lost like 28 games in a row though after that. It felt like
it did feel like they lost a lot. I just again, they drive Mercedes too. I just feel
I don't know
like
that they do. I think they're all still on rookie contracts. They still got Camrys right now. But seriously, you're right. But even still, you should win the series against Texas. You should win the series against Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
Should have beaten San Diego one more time.
Mm-hmm.
Should have won yesterday.
So that's 4.
That's 21 and 17. At the time I had them, I think it was they were 15 and 18 at the time, and I had them at 20 and 13. So there's my 4 games at 24. So I don't know. Anyway, we're gonna get out of here, but before we do that, take a trip back in time.
There we go.
We need to get some some sci-fi music for this segment.
Some
Some time warp.
I wish we could do something like
the
Huey
Twilight
Lewis
Zone.
going back in time.
Yeah, no.
Huey Lewis.
Probably best that we not do that.
Yeah.
May 19th, 2004, 45-year-old Julio Franco, all-time favorite,
ish,
became once
45-ish.
45-year-old Julio Franco became once again the oldest player in Major League history to hit a pinch hit home run. After coming off the bench for a round tripper 2 weeks earlier against San Diego, Franco hit a 2-out, 2-run homer to force a 4-4 eighth-inning tie with Arizona before the Diamondbacks won 6-4 and 11. So, Julio.
Still getting it done. Him and Bartolo down there just killing
sexy.
the game.
You could start a team with those two guys. That'd be entertaining.
Yeah, I would. Landen Secrest is going to talk a little NBA playoffs with us here briefly on the next segment. So y'all stick around. Find out if we should be worried about Luka or if he just was tired from Game 7. So stick around. Main Street Sports Today presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and join us back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
Are you an enthusiastic sports fan? Want to have fun and get in on the action?
Heck yes, that'd be awesome.
Have great attention to detail? Want to stay active?
Definitely.
Want to give back to the student athletes in your community?
Obviously, yes.
Then you'd make an excellent high school sports official. We need more officials in Tennessee. Because with no high school officials, there are no high school sports. Sign up today at highschoolofficials.com.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County Schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in Main Street Sports Today, presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. We've not had any dingers today, although we've had some pretty good ding-worthy comments, I thought. So
he's been kind of stingy with the bell today. He must not be in a great mood. Or maybe he's just not listening.
No. There's we may be on a a moratorium on the daily dingers until after spring fling.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right, we're busy.
A workflow issue.
Workflow issue. Is that kind of like supply chain issues?
Yeah, there you go. Okay,
got you. Daily Dinger, singular, right?
We're just gonna have, yeah, exactly. Hey, let's talk a little bit about the NBA playoffs. Obviously,
the association.
Yeah, because to be honest with you, the last two games were a bit shocking, to say the least. I certainly didn't expect for Dallas to just get drubbed by Golden State. But I do think having to have played a game 7 plus travel and all that goes with that had a little bit to do with Dallas's issues. But who in mind, what do I know, when we could talk to Seco Sports Landen Secrest. Landen, what's going on, buddy?
Nothing much. Hype for game 2 of Miami-Boston tonight.
It's going to be a lot of fun. 7:30 on ESPN. It'll be Boston at Miami. Miami a 2-point favorite in this one. What's on tap? What are we thinking?
I think that Horford has been announced that he's going to play. I think it's depending on if Smart's going to play, if it's really going to make a difference, because the Heat were really down in game 1 for majority of the game. It seemed like, as a viewer, it seemed like Butler and Hero were the only 2 players scoring. So I feel like if Smart doesn't play, then who's going to stop that on Boston's side?
That's a good question.
Maybe you don't stop it. Maybe you just got to get Tatum and Grant Williams going.
That's very true. If Grant hits threes like he did in game 7, then Miami needs to watch out.
Jimmy Butler going for 41. I mean, obviously that's something that he's capable of any night out. But I mean, it hadn't been there much this postseason, had it?
No, but they call him Jimmy Buckets for a reason. Personally, I respect Jimmy Butler as a player, but these scoring outbursts are something that has been foreign to me. I mean, he's just been on a tear. I have a friend that is an Atlanta Hawks fan, and seeing that in the first round it was just pain to see him drop 40 plus in every game. And now he's doing it again in the Eastern Conference Finals. So Miami definitely is going to need it if they want to get past Boston and Tatum, like you just said.
And when you talk about the Miami Heat, there are a couple of players that you specifically look for. But this team has some depth because obviously not having Kyle Lowry in game 1 wasn't much of an issue because Gabe Vincent played perfectly well at the point position. And they're 7-0 when Gabe Vincent starts in the playoffs. So it's the problem is that he's now questionable with a hamstring issue of his own. And injuries seem to be the telltale of this series so far. So is Miami just deeper? Is that why they're able to be better at this point in the season?
When I look at Miami, I see people off the bench now probably is going to start like Victor Oladipo. And then you have somebody like Duncan Robinson, who really isn't even logging minutes. So when you think about those 2 caliber players, they're coming off the bench, and one is not even getting minutes for Miami. And when you look on Boston's side, Aaron Nesmith provided some minutes and a spark on the defensive end, but he's not the same level of player that I just mentioned on the side for Miami. So I really think it does come down to depth, because who will suffice for Tatum when he goes off the floor? Boston doesn't have a Victor Oladipo or a Duncan Robinson that they can just bring off the bench.
I cannot tell you, Landon, how happy you made JP when you mentioned Aaron Nesmith, the former Vanderbilt Commodore, and
take her down, Landon. Thank you, sir.
His contributions for the Celtics here in the postseason. So, yeah, JP appreciates that. But
I'll see us over here boasting Rocky Top when we're talking about Grant Williams.
Yeah,
it is
a little balance, Yeah, Landon. Let me preface this by saying that I've not been a huge NBA fan. I've kept up with the Grizzlies probably more than I have anything, but it just feels like to me the Western Conference, for whatever reason, has been a little bit more compelling here during the postseason. than the Eastern Conference? Have you gotten that feeling? Do you feel that way?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, in the last series, we were mentioning Luka, Magic, and Dallas. I mean, I was not expecting any blowout like that. I was really expecting for CP and Devin Booker to show up. And then you just have the Warriors in the emergence of Jordan Poole. And then you have a team like Denver with the MVP on their team, and they got beat in the first round by that Warriors team. So it's really, I would say it's just wide open in the Western Conference and in terms of East and West. It's just really wide open, and it's very competitive in terms of these two finals, Eastern Conference and Western Conference finals matchups.
Yeah, I don't think anybody expected to see Dallas specifically in this at this point in the playoffs. Golden State, obviously, we talked about their experience and that giving them a little bit of a leg up in the Western Conference, especially now that Chris Paul and the Suns are out. At this point, Golden State's got to be the clear favorite to win this whole thing. They keep playing the way they've been playing.
Right. I think you add somebody like Jordan Poole and the emergence of the pool party, they want to call it, alongside the Splash Brothers, him, and then you're getting performances from Kevon Looney, 20 rebounds, and then Draymond Green and even Andrew Wiggins showing up last night. So it's hard to provide an answer for that when they're all hitting on all cylinders, those five.
The Splash Brothers and the pool party. Wow. I guess
it writes itself.
I guess it makes sense when you think about it, but wow. Landen, we talked a little bit on the show here not too long ago about the Larry Bird Trophy and the Magic Johnson Trophy going to the Eastern Conference and Western Conference champions. It kind of feels like an extension of everybody gets a trophy. But what were your thoughts on the conference trophies and the namesakes thereof under the circumstances?
It's interesting to me when you add another trophy to the element, because it brings up the conversation of who should have won in the past when you look at the conference finals MVPs and things like that. And then it brings up the legacy debate. But for the namesake of Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, I mean, who better than people that went back and forth in the 80s and had such an impact on the game? I know I am a young blood in the basketball game, but seeing Larry Bird and Magic Johnson, of course they need a trophy named after him at the magnitude of this.
That's the thing. And you couldn't name one without the other.
Oh, no.
Because they, like I said,
if you were going to
ham and burger.
I don't know if you were going, like you said, if you were going to name one for Bird, then there was nobody else for the other one. If you were going to name one Magic, there's nobody else for the other one. I mean, they are joined at the hip from that NCAA championship game forward
throughout their careers.
Yeah. So
it is interesting though. Landen Secrest of Seacoast Sports, talking a little NBA basketball. Landen, who's going to win the Eastern Conference Finals?
The Eastern Conference Finals, I'm going to have to go with Miami. If I'm a believer in Jimmy Buckets as of these 40-point games. I mean, if he can match Tatum, I don't know who can match anybody else better than Tatum if he continues to do this. So I'm going to believe in Miami.
What about on the Western side? I mean, does Doncic pull the Mavs through, or is it the Splash Brothers and the pool party?
I'm not as sure about the Western side, because when you look at Luka and what he did in Game 7, he had such a great performance, but he also got 30 points from Spencer Dinwiddie and about 20 from Jalen Brunson, and he didn't get that last night, and we saw what the result was. So I'm not going to bet against the Warriors. I'm going to go with the safe pick and go with Golden State.
Golden State, Miami in the NBA Finals. We'll get more from you before that, Landen, but we do appreciate you taking some time with us today.
Hey, also a hat tip to Landen Secrest, who was camped out up on Mallory Lane yesterday for that Summit Centennial Region 6-4A softball championship game that the Spartan women, as you like to refer to them, came out victorious 7-2 in. So again, Landen contributing some coverage to Main Street Preps and Main Street Murray, and you can find his work there. You can find him at Seco_sports on Twitter. And seems to think that he wants to become a journalist. Just turned in a 4.0 after his freshman year at Belmont University. So I think he may be too smart.
Yeah.
Too smart for this industry.
You have to lower that down to at least a 3.
But we're certainly happy to have him.
2.8ers. 2.8ers.
We're certainly happy to have him. Both his writing abilities and his NBA insight with us here on Main Street Sports today.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a quick break because there is a lot to talk about in the final segment. The NCAA has the rules committee has made some changes and they are pretty significant. So we'll run down those and get thoughts and whatnot. So stick around. Main Street Sports Day presented by Mid Tennessee Bone and Joint. Be back after this. Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint treats your orthopedic injuries and existing conditions. Our trained physicians will get you back in the game faster. Contact us at 931-381-2663 or www.mtbj.net. Hey folks, while we take a quick break from the show, I want to tell you about our friends over at Custom Stone Handlers in downtown Columbia. Ed Rich and his team at Custom Stone Handlers believe in leadership. And outside of the military, our greatest leader building platform is sports. Custom Stone Handlers proudly encourages young people to get in the game. You can contact them today at 931-490-4990 or visit CustomStonehandlers.com.
Jones & Lang Sporting Goods here in Columbia has been outfitting teams, officials, and anybody else from T-ball to college for 50-plus years. Be sure and check them out at 931-388-8060 or online at jonesandlang.com. Jones & Lang Sporting Goods, the look of a winner.
Zion Christian Academy, ZionEagles.org or 931-388-5731. You can schedule your appointment. Go tour their campus. It is beautiful over there, and you're definitely going to want to see it. Again, it's ZionEagles.org. Give them a call, 931-388-5731, and schedule your tour today.
A game without a crowd is just a scrimmage. A performance without an audience is just a rehearsal. Without your presence, high school sports and the performing arts aren't possible. Ensure that these essential extracurricular activities continue to enrich the lives of students in Tennessee. Purchase a ticket to your local high school's game or performance.
This message presented by the TSSAA.
Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint has been the official sports medicine provider for Murray County schools for more than 40 years. We specialize in orthopedic injuries, and our Ortho Quick walk-in service lets you bypass the ER. Visit us online at www.mtbj.net. Welcome back in. Main Street Sports Day presented by Mid-Tennessee Bone and Joint. Chris Yao alongside Mo Patton, JP Plant on the controls. I'm really interested in one. I would just like to say this. I think it's hilarious that Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher are having this fight, and Tennessee just paid $8 million for a quarterback, and nobody cares.
You must have just seen the meme that I saw earlier.
I did. That was so good. He was just taking a video of the fight. And hey, man, just me minding my own business.
Just kicking up, kicking back, watching. Again, NIL needs some ironing out. The transfer portal needs some ironing out. But I don't think either of them is going to be the ruination of college football or college athletics. And if they are, it was headed that way anyway. Because if exploiting the on-field personnel is the only way for it to be successful, then maybe it doesn't need to succeed.
I think there's
accidentally libertarian.
Say what?
You accidentally libertarian.
Oh, wow. Don't tell them that.
Hey, free markets, man. If that's what you got to have,
Well,
then maybe you shouldn't be in business.
That's it.
Accidentally libertarian. There's a whole Twitter account. It's great.
But you could make the argument, though, that all of this, we talked about the issues that we're having, it's making the game more popular, is it not?
I don't know if it's making the
think
game
so?
more popular. I think it was pretty dang popular anyway.
Yeah, but, I mean, here we are, things like this, that it's just getting another way of the combatants to go at each other than just the typical, what we've been doing for 50 years to 100 years.
I think
Now
social media is making it more popular.
This has certainly changed the game as far as the trash talk between coaches and and the recruiting trails. But I think it is social media, Mo. I think because they can use social media to increase their visibility with things like this,
and they can do it so quick.
Yeah, they're not talking to. They're talking to players.
Saban gets taped speaking at a non-football related function last night.
Sure,
Jimbo Fisher sees the reaction to it, calls an impromptu press conference first thing this morning. I mean, the news cycle is just ramped up.
It's exactly what the only way to fix this is what I quote tweeted Wes Blankenship. No DQ, falls count anywhere, triple threat, Jimbo, Dion, Nick Saban,
King of the Hill.
Triple threat match. Give me Mills Lane.
You got any questions?
Let's get it.
Let's get it on.
And I want to hear Jim Ross on the call. I mean, let's go. Let's just do it celebrity deathmatch style. I mean, but seriously, the NCAA. Here's the thing: the NCAA passed 2 major rules today or yesterday, whenever it was, and neither of those things are getting talked about. It is a big deal.
So let's talk about them.
It's a big deal that the Pac-12 no longer has to deal with divisions because the NCAA has removed the requirement.
So what was it? If you had more than X number of teams in your conference,
teams,
more than 10,
you had to have divisions. At first, when they first did it, they said if you have more than 10, you can have divisions.
Then they said you have to.
They said you have to have divisions.
What's the have to? I mean, what's the purpose of the have to?
I don't know why they had to, but now they don't. And the Pac-12 said, well, if we ain't got to, we ain't
going to.
Because if we can get UCLA and USC back to back or whatever it takes to get them to Levi Stadium or whatever, then we're going to do that.
So by not having divisions, then you just got one set of standings in the top 2 teams.
That's correct. Play for the title.
But everybody's not going to play everybody during the regular season.
No, they don't have to. I think scheduling is going to get weird.
Scheduling is going to get weird. And what's going to happen, I think, is invariably you're going to have 2 teams tied for second.
Oh gosh, yep. And
who haven't played each other.
And then you got to go
for second. Not for first, for second.
Then you got to go record versus 1 versus 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah. It's going to happen.
Absolutely, it's going to happen. And I mean, your first tiebreaker is head to head, but you don't have that because they didn't play.
But it is a positive when you don't have to worry about 6 and 6. Who was it a couple years ago where there was, I guess it was in the ACC where it was like 6 and 6 Pitt
like every year.
Yeah,
ACC.
6 and 6 Pitt or something had a chance to beat Clemson, and had they beaten Clemson, it would have been
like a 4-way tie or some stuff like
some
that.
craziness. Yeah. So I mean, it does eliminate some issues, but it also creates some issues.
Boom.
So you're just switching the issues, and is it worth it? I don't know. Maybe we'll see.
Well, let's ask the first conference that has a tie for second
We'll find
if
out,
it was
won't we?
worth it.
And Matt Brown from Extra Points said, I just can't wait for one of the G5 conferences to be like, no, we like our divisions, dadgummit.
Yeah.
So like the MAC, who
Well, they can still have them, right?
Yeah, they can have them. They just don't have to.
There's no requirement.
Correct.
I think it makes more sense, but
then you've got, I think part of it is the lack of geographical sense that these conferences make at this point.
That's a problem.
That's what the G5 still makes sense geographically, whereas the Power 5 for all intents and purposes does not at all. Big 12 doesn't make sense. They got they're all Conference USA.
The conference that we pay the most attention to geographically, divisions, their divisions make sense, East and West.
Except that Missouri's in the East.
There's a couple exceptions, yeah.
Well, Missouri has to be in the East because you're not going to split Alabama and Auburn.
I understand that. You're not going to split Tennessee and Vanderbilt. We don't care about them.
Tennessee said no.
They said, no. We're going to keep those.
No.
We're going to keep them.
No.
But for the most part, it does. But with 16 teams, it doesn't.
No.
Which is why this is happening now, to give the pod option
to the SEC
ability to happen. Well, not just them, but I think
nobody else is going to have 16, are they?
No, but they're giving everybody the option to have that, because I think you're going to end up with some pods in other conferences as well.
But how are pods going to work with fewer than 16 teams?
I think you just have 3 teams instead of 4. If you've got 12 teams, you have 4 pods of 3.
I think you could. Yeah, I think you could make it work, and I think it would make some sense. The Pac-12 in particular. Now, they do have a pretty good geographical split going, so their divisions geographically made some sense, and you could do that with pods too, because you've got Oregon and Washington. There's 4 teams.
Washington State, yeah.
How many teams are in the Pac-12?
It's 14, right?
There are now.
Right.
Okay, so if they've got 14 teams,
you can't have pods because there's no division.
Or you'd have an odd, which
an odd pod.
An odd pod.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
An odd pod. That's so good. But this is. I think it's good for the ability for the NCAA to let conferences decide what they want to do.
Yes, it's kind of like high school districts and regions, right?
Let them do their own thing.
At least TSSAA.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how you get to
the region.
Figure it out.
Send us 2 teams.
Send us 2 teams.
Send us 2 teams. However you decide to send them.
And
that's
maybe
fine. If y'all don't want to play it, if y'all don't want to play everybody during the regular season, you don't have to. Just send us 2 teams.
Here's a in the future look at this or take is that a precursor to having conference tie-ins, conference champion tie-ins to a playoff. If that win, I assume that gets implemented when you get more teams by not having these divisions, not having to have
Alabama and Georgia to play a championship in the conference, so you don't have them play in the playoff. That makes sense.
Or typically you're going to get the best 2 teams. I mean, there are going to be some exceptions with the tiebreakers, but even still, it's the 3rd best team and the 1st best team to some degree. But you're going to have typically the best 2 teams coming through, and you'll get a more defined champion than having like a 6-6 Pitt taking on Clemson in the ACC championship game.
Sure,
that you're talking about as an example.
But and I think that's. I like the idea of the best 2 teams playing, especially if you have conference tie-ins to a playoff, because then you don't have to worry about that is your quarterfinal or whatever.
Right.
I like it. That's a solid argument there. But then you
No, what's
you
going
got to expand the playoff.
What's going to happen when it's like Alabama and Arkansas, and Georgia gets left out?
Well, then Arkansas had the better year.
Yeah,
I mean,
it is what it is.
Yeah,
that's gonna be unique. I'm curious.
Yeah,
I'm curious. Finally, one of the big things we've talked about it so much on this show. How are they going to get over the COVID year? Well, I think they've come up with an idea. They are eliminating the 25 player limit on a signing class, and they've upped the number of players you can get out of the portal.
Wait a minute, hold on. There was a limit on how many kids you could bring out of the portal?
There was.
I never knew.
Yeah.
What was the limit?
They had to be part of your class.
Oh, so anybody that you signed out of the portal was part of your 25 player
Right.
class for football.
For football.
So there weren't necessarily limits for the other sports.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably.
I don't think anybody else has a class limit
No,
other than football.
So here's what this is going to do. This is going to blow up some programs. You're going to have new coaches come in and get rid of 40 kids.
Because they can sign 40 kids.
From the portal or
wherever.
From freshman classes or whatever.
Or jukes.
Or JUCOs. You're going to have some coaches come in and just throw a grenade.
Just nuke everybody.
And everything's going to be. But the positive is.
Coach is coming in pulling a Cartman.
Exactly.
Get out.
But I think what I think is the best positive about this is I think it's going to really help the group of 5 and FCS teams, because those players are going to need somewhere to go.
But it's not going to help the high school kid.
I think it will, because they can sign more kids out of high school. They can get rid of 40 juniors and seniors if they need to.
But it's like one coach said at the
why would I recruit high school kids?
Yeah, at the recruiting fair that the Tennessee football coaches had a few weeks ago. If I lose a junior, I need to bring in a junior. So
maybe, but not if you feel good about what you're doing as who you are as a coach, right? So I'm really curious to see how this is going to play out. I hope that it helps the high school kids. I really do.
A potential another thing to that is you could get rid of an older player because an incoming freshman will cost you less in NIL potentially.
Well, it's not your money anyway.
It's not your money.
No, but but there's only so much money out there. I mean, that they're willing to spend. I mean, it's
spread it out over 2 or 3 players.
It's a salary cap move.
Seriously,
it's turning.
It can turn into that. Yeah,
it's very possible.
You're not wrong.
We've got so much to talk about, and there's so little time in today, and so we'll just have to get to it tomorrow.
There we go.
But we do need to get to. We didn't get to it today at all. TSSAA teams to watch in softball. We've not talked about it yet, so we will talk about it tomorrow.
That's your fault.
Well, not really. I just went through the baseball. It took a little longer than I expected, okay? It happens, okay? But we will get to softball
I'm just going to let you deal with the chapped softball fans.
They won't be chapped. We'll get there.
Okay.
So, tomorrow, softball and Jeff Him. So come hang out with us 2 o'clock. For Mo and JP, I'm Chris Yousing. Have a great day. We'll see you then.